Hey y'all, what it do? It's your girl T coming at you with a video. I know it has been a while since I have done a video or even a show. And like I said, it's still coming. It's just been a lot of things going on. It's really making it harder, but it is coming. I have not forgot about it at all. The topic that I want to talk about is taking accountability for your actions. Um, I thought about doing this before in the past, and I just never really got to it. However, after an incident that I did yesterday that was my fault, can't do nothing but take ownership of it, uh, apologize, and move on from there. But because of that, it actually made it easier for me to do it today. So that's why I'm here. Anywho, okay, let me actually tell you or give you somewhat of a rundown as to what went down and where I messed up at. I know you guys have heard about the girl, that silly black girl that had in Texas that took a half gallon of Blue Bunny ice cream, licked it, closed the container, and put it back in the freezer. Okay, and it was also talk that she could possibly be facing 20 years. So I put up a question on my Facebook page about it, and whether they felt that the sentence was fair, and and if the other person should get the same sentence as well. Now, because I did leave something else out. As well as this black woman licking the ice cream, there was a white guy seen, and I don't know the location of the rest of these people. There was a white guy, still boy, looked like a teenager, maybe young adult, that went into a store, dug his hands into a half gallon of Bluebell ice cream, ate the mess, closed the container, put it back in the freezer. And then after that, and so I mean, the question was pertaining to these two. But of course, I'm sure you guys have seen other videos surfacing since then of a young lady that took some mouthwash, put it in her mouth, swished it in her mouth, and then put it back in a container. As well as another video where there's a young man that opens up a can of salsa, spits in it, closes it back up, and puts it back on the shelf. Now, back to the question I put down is: do you think the sentence is fair, and do you think, and do you feel that both the white boy and her should serve the same sentence? Let's keep it real. We all know that when it comes to black and white, the truth is, black people do get punished more harshly than white people, and not to mention that with these three other incidents that I just spoke about, I over here at least I haven't seen anything on the news about those three people, and they were all white, of course. I haven't heard anything on the radio about those three people. All these posters are coming up on Facebook, or these videos are surfacing on Facebook, but they've only been talking about. But when you look at the news and you look at and you listen to the radio, all you keep hearing about is this black girl. And they used their technology based on a video and other stuff to find this black girl. But I haven't heard anything about these white people. So that's where the question came about. Now, got a lot of good answers. Now here's the part. Now jumping to where I'm getting at. There was a person that had made a comment about it, and they didn't think it was a racist issue. Whereas I replied that it is a racist issue because we are aware of, that black people do get charged more harshly than white people, and the fact that all these videos surfaced the same way, but only the black person got reported on, and we haven't heard anything about these white people, which I'm assuming nothing has happened to these white kids. So now with that being said, some other stuff was said in there. And honestly, when I woke up and first read it, I promise you, for some reason, every time I kept reading this particular response, it just kept coming off wrong in my head. And I promise you, I read it. I reread it. I reread it because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't overlooking something. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't taking something out of context. I do try my best when I read stuff. If I'm not sure how to respond to it, I will wait until I can come up with a responsible way to respond to certain things. But I promise you, when I read this response, it just kept coming out wrong in my head. And to the point that it seemed like it was with the particular response seemed like it was an attack on my character of questioning as well as my show or my page. So the way I responded was very harsh and disrespectful. And I don't know if harsh is the right word, but it was disrespectful, bottom line. Now, I could sit here and what I just told you, I read it, reread it, it didn't, for some reason, it wasn't sitting well in my mind. Now, at the time that I responded, I thought I was really responding based on what I read. However, when I had another discussion over the phone with someone else about it and I reread it out loud, all of a sudden it clicked. Not just to myself, but to the other person I was talking to. And it was nothing like I perceived it to be. Nothing. And I felt like shit. Because, like I said, the way I responded was very disrespectful. So, of course, on Facebook, I on that page, I did apologize, but I was unable to really tag the person, but I still apologized. I also called that person because I knew who the person was too, which was pretty good too. So I called the person and left a message and apologized. Now, what I was going back to what I was going to say. Okay, I could use that, and it is a legitimate reason. I could turn around and say, well, I got all this stuff going on with me. I got all this stuff going on in my life, and this is what caused me to act out like this. I could say that maybe I was still sleepy and it just didn't sit right. You know, it's a bunch of excuses that I can come up with. And they might actually be legitimate reasonings. But the bottom line is they're still excuses. And it's still unacceptable. Like I said, I felt that I needed to make that call, because I was wrong. And that's the big thing to do. And trust and believe this stuff is hard. It's not easy. It's hard. Oh,